What up? What up? What up? What up? Actually, listening to my project. All unreleased music, y'all. Wrote down a bunch of stuff today. Actually, so this is how much I love football, right? I was doing some draft stuff, but then I went back and charted. I wanted to watch the Bengals film, so y'all can see Bengals all 22 film, play count, personnel groupings. Like I really take notes. I really love football, Jack. I really love football, Jack. Like through and through. Really love football, y'all. Um, Hope everybody's having a great evening. We're gonna have a great show tonight. Um, let's let some people get in here. But yeah, I was bored, and then I got over here. I got a bunch of draft notes as well. Um, so like just working, man. Just very, I feel how I feel about the game. I feel how I feel about how things went down, but it is what it is. Let's vibe. We're gonna have a great. Y'all remember how I dropped this joint? I remember this joint. The darkness came and shape became our thing. The waves arrive and crashes into me. We once were full when love it was a thing, empty. You fighting, you know. But I ain't no sacrifice you do. What did I do wrong this time? I can't be yours and you can't be mine. How do we move on this time? I'm good with that. When the door on the gas, we learn from the past. You and I gonna last. Ah. All right, let's talk about it, y'all. What up, 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 what up? Cowboys family, how are y'all? Wow. We get to take our time because we got all off season. We're home. The Cowboys had a great year. And what we're gonna do on this show as we cap the year, and so this will kind of be kind of a recap of the year, and not the year, but the last game, because I've been consistent on how I felt this year. I think that we've all been kind of inconsistent because the team has been inconsistent at times. But the last game, I said early on that it's like, wow, we really waited all season for this moment, and we got here, and I think that every situation is different. I think that every situation is different in life. Um, and I think that you got to a place as a fan where we were just starting to say, Dak is seizing the moment and he's about to go on a run and he's the best quarterback left in the NFC. Now, me personally, I think that the best quarterback left, especially with the Mahomes injury, is Joe Burrow, but that's another situation. And it's not because of his talent. And there are a few things that I want to get to as far as a few misnomers that are going around about this this Cowboys roster and how the Cowboys feel and how Cowboys fans feel. And there's just a lot that I want to unpack. And, everybody's doing a film session, everybody's doing a film breakdown, and everybody has a reason as to why Dak played bad and this, that, and the third. And again, for me, I'll be completely honest. I've been one of the people who has had to say, hey, Dak this year has been in control. But for whatever reason, the interceptions at times just got goofy, and we'll break all that down. But, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. I'll be honest, on Sunday night, I was hurt. Like, as a fan, I'm a fanatic. I coach kids, and being a fan of the team, I think everybody who covers the team and covers sports, they're fanatics too. They'll try to talk to you in these ways, and that's what the good thing about YouTube. I could be myself. Like, I don't have to be anybody else. I'm a fanatic, and I 100% was hurt, like hurt. And the reason why I was hurt is because special teams did enough, the defense did enough, the offense strung together situations, but the playoffs, the playoffs is about players, and it's about quarterback play. And the truth of the matter is the quarterback wasn't good enough. And, the run of the mill response is just getting old. To me. Again, defense was beyond good. Defense was out of this world. You know what made me most proud as a fan and as a person who covers this team and watches film? And again, everybody's doing film breakdowns right now. Everybody has a reason why. Everybody has a theory. Everybody has, you can't trade a quarterback. And, I re-ranked my quarterback rankings, and the way that things went this year, to be honest with you, there are only two elite quarterbacks. But, Sunday, let's stop using the argument that Dak had to be elite. He didn't have to be elite on Sunday. Your defense took over for you. Um, your defense took over for you. I don't want to hear that the defense wore down. I don't want to hear that the defense, I don't want to hear that Diggs could have made this play. I don't want to hear that this player could have did this. Dono shouldn't have got the holding. I don't want to hear anything about. I don't want to hear one thing about this defense. I don't even want to hear any. This defense, every one of them was locked in to a T. And to be honest with you, they had the harder task. If you mean to tell me you're going to come out and completely blanket, hey, April, what's going on, April? It's never too early for draft talk. We can always talk draft. This is my crew. Whoever's in here now, y'all not the armchair. Y'all not the stand. Y'all not the fans in the stands. Y'all really the fans. Like, y'all really want to know what's going on. Y'all really want to talk. Much love to everybody in the chat. First and foremost, much love to all of y'all. The defense had a harder task. Let's be honest. To stop this run, the defense's run defense had times this year where they were just flat out spotty. Just wasn't good enough. Didn't do their job correctly. The run defense, the first Eagles game, it was just there were times this year where they weren't correct fits, all that type of stuff. But they got it together against San Francisco. San Francisco tried to come out and punch, you punch back. Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels had under 50 yards rushing. What are we talking about? Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels had under 50 yards rushing. Aisha, draft talk. Aisha will be on the draft show on DallasCowboys.com. Y'all make sure y'all support her. Anybody who knows me knows this is my time of year, so it's cool. I just get to talk here and be myself, and that's what I love. So, putting a bow on this because I'm done talking about it. Like, I'm done talking about this Cowboys game after tonight. Like, I'm not gonna do it, but I am going to have my theories on how this team has to move forward, and I'm not gonna mince words. So, I think that. Well, I'm gonna just play the sound, and I never do stuff like this, but I finally thought for once somebody said it exactly how it had to be said. And I think that once we have this conversation, then we can start talking draft. But to me, is everybody getting the video clear? Can everybody see? Let me see. Louis says, "Am I the only one cutting in and out of the video?" Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Can, can everybody give me a thumbs up? Can everybody give me a thumbs up? Okay, cool. Let me find the sound real quick, guys. Because I heard this sound from. Let me see. Here we go. Everybody got me. Cool. All right, here we go. Let me see. I heard this sound from Isaiah Stanback. He's really well spoken. All right, here we go. I think this is the sound. This is one of the best things that I heard.
Or you can stay in between. But if you go to either way, half a step either way, you're going to run into somebody. He ran into a guy, and Dak threw it there. Bad decision based upon the defense that was presented. Now, there was nobody else open on that play. Throw it away. Right. Run. I don't care. Don't do that. And my issue, and I'm not coming at him, I'm coming at him for his decision making. Mm-hmm. This is something that's been reoccurring. And everything that I'm saying, I'm sure he will sit up there and back it up as well. I can't do that. He said it. I can't do those things. Right. Saying it, and to your point, is honorable. But it doesn't help your team win ball games. It doesn't change the outcome. It does not change the outcome. And when you have 17 interceptions over a span of 14 games, is that correct? Is that right? 15. Around there? 15 games? 15, okay, call it 15. Okay. 17 interceptions over 15 games. There's a problem. Mm-hmm. And it has to be identified. And I don't care that it hasn't happened in the past. It's happening now. And I don't know what has to happen in this offseason. It was 14. 14. Games. 17 interceptions over 14 games. People want to talk about the regular season. I'm talking about the postseason. Okay, he had a heck of a game last week where he saw the defenses. But you're dealing with somebody now, Dak or any other quarterback that's having an issue throwing picks. Okay, I don't care who it is. Where you're more fearful of your quarterback throwing the ball versus coverage than he is facing a blitz.
I mean,
Hold on. Let me take this.
And when you have 17 interceptions over a span
one more time, guys.
Is that correct? Is that right? Around there? 15 games? 15, okay, call it 15. Okay. 17 interceptions over 15 games. There's a problem. And it has to be identified. And I don't care that it hasn't happened in the past. It's happening now. And I don't know what has to happen in this offseason.
It was 14.
14. 17 interceptions over 14 games. People want to talk about the regular season. I'm talking about the postseason. Okay, he had a heck of a game last week where he saw the defenses. But you're dealing with somebody now, Dak or any other quarterback that's having an issue throwing picks. Okay, I don't care who it is. Where you're more...
I had to play this again.
...of your quarterback throwing the ball versus coverage than he is facing a blitz.
Mic drop, Isaiah Stanback, and I listen to the shows. I listen, and I don't listen a lot because I like to come with original thoughts. But I want to give Isaiah Stanback a lot of credit for being unfiltered. I want to say I when you're making this amount of money, I don't care what you do. Dak's making more than the coaching staff. He's making more than a lot of the players on the team, and he earned that money. But that's doesn't mean that he gets absolved from criticism. Period. No but. No but. There's no because, there's no he got hurt. There's no because guess what? At that moment where Tony Pollard got hurt, and you could say this, that, and the third about the game plan, blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I don't want to hear that. Here's why. Tony Pollard gets hurt. It's 2nd and 2. I don't care if Kellen Moore calls 10 bad plays. Throw it to Africa. Don't do that. That's what Isaiah Stanback's talking about. Something's not going on with his mental processing, and now that's bad because the lower half sucks. Dak's lower half was terrible on Sunday. Terrible. Not stepping in the throws. His feet were all over the place. You're late, and now the eyes or the decision-making. And the problem is, and the biggest problem is, for me, is that we're defending bad play. This is bad play. Like, when it was good play, we said it's good play. When it's bad play, we have to say it's bad play, period. Nothing else. That's what lost you the game. Don't give me Tony Pollard got hurt because you're driving. If you kick 3 points there, you kicked 3 points there, right? In the game, was it tied up or was it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. You kicked 3 points there and you get the ball back at half. Kyle Shanahan listen to me. After they got the pick, Kyle Shanahan did not want to call another play. You could look at his eyes. He was nervous. This wasn't last year's game. Last year's game, Kyle dialed us up. He dialed us up. Kyle didn't want to call it. He didn't want to call the offense. I coach. I'm telling you, this is what I know. He didn't want it, dog. C-Mac didn't want to get hit. When Dono met, this is why I get upset every time I talk about this game. That's why I say I'm done with it. When Donovan Wilson met Deebo Samuel after that 10-yard run, it stopped. Energy was shifted. It was shifted. All the dirty things they was doing, they seen Deebo get crunched and the energy was shifted. Dang, this not the same Cowboys. They here. They could troll Micah all they wanted. They had no answer for Micah. Micah was all over the field and had pressures. Yeah, let's show 3 plays against Trent Williams. That's great. Come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? And then what do? We're in the red area. If you got to kick a field goal, cool. If you miss that, cool. I could live with missing that field goal, but what I can't live with is Dak making that decision. That's not good football, period. Nothing else to talk about. I'm not going to sit here and say one man lost you the game because that's not how team sport works. But I'm telling you now, when you listen to curse talk and even when you listen to Micah, dog, and this is what we want out of athletes. This is why I don't understand why people are so mad about Diggs. Like, Diggs a DMV dude. Diggs is from the DMV. I don't know how y'all are around the nation, but like in the DMV, we gonna pop our pop, but we really want it. Like, that's what makes the athletes from here so gritty. Like, dog, Diggs is from the DMV. So you know what? I would rather him lash out because he want to win than tuck his tail and go hide in his mansion. Like, Diggs really want to win. I'm talking about Stephon Diggs. I think Trey Diggs does too, but I'm talking about Stephon Diggs. Like, Micah is built like that. Micah, you know why Micah came out and said, hey, we can't make them same mistakes? Because Micah's saying what? Micah's saying, dog, Dak, what are you doing? Come on, man. Like, I'm sick of it. And I'm a DMV dude, period. I'm not gonna play this game with YouTubers and Twitter guys. Anybody who's ever met me in person understands. If you want smoke, I'm gonna give it to you. Period. I don't have no choices. I don't have no picks. 2016 was emotional. You could say it's emotional. Now we have 8 years of pie charts, chat, stats, whatever. Something's not adding up. And we have to have tough conversations. You're going on two head coaches, Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett. Okay. People want to fire Mike. People want to fire Kellen. He's from that Garrett. Cool. After you bring in another OC and it's not working, then you're gonna have to have some tough personnel decisions. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We can talk about play calling all you want. Oh, and by the way, because I'm done with it, I went on my rant. That's in. That's the end of it. You know, um, you know, it's just like I watch so much film. It's like, dog, Ward, like he's not even that good. He used to be a corner. Now they put him at safety. I remember when Ward was drafted, dog. What what the Niners want to do, they want to play zone. They want to rob you. For those of you who don't know, they want to play cover three and they're going to play a robber technique. That's all they're going to do. They're going to bet on their guys beating your guys. They didn't blitz. They hardly blitzed. They knew D'Amico Ryans wasn't going to blitz Dak. He's great against the blitz. He doesn't have to heat you up. What he did was bluff Warner all game. And these are things that Dak should know. Hey, Dak, you got to understand this even in the red zone. Now things shrink in the red zone. You should know this. Come on. Come on, Dak. Like, you cannot throw that football. I'm not going to blame that on play calling. I don't care what Twitter's saying. I don't care what everybody writing these think pieces and all this film. Y'all got to watch out for all these film guys. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they played. I just don't care. Like, they want to rob you. That's robber. He's in a robber technique. That's all Ward was doing. He's camping out. When you put CeeDee Lamb in the slot, you also have to be aware that they know that CeeDee Lamb's been doing work from the slot. Don't put that on Kellen Moore. Don't put that on Kellen Moore. Hey, you see Jimmy Ward peeking right there? Throw it in Africa. Throw it. Throw it as far as you can. Let's get in something. And then what makes it worse is like, dog, after that play, I don't know who called that play. I think that Dak was trying to catch them. And I like when Dak goes tempo, right? Let's talk football. I like when he goes tempo. But I'm not sure that Dak didn't call that play. And then you call that play. And it's like, oh, Tony just got hurt. Let's get into a look we like. It's 2nd and 2. Let's run the ball. But that's why I said, like, this game hurts. Because, unfortunately, Dak can go to the podium and say, we'll be back. We just don't know that. We struck gold this year, y'all. He can come and say, we just don't know that we'll be back. You can have another major injury. Dak had a major injury to start the year. Everything went perfectly, right? But you could say that, but like there are guys on this roster right now who won't be back, who helped you. There's a coach in Dan Quinn who won't be back. To me, this defense was as good as it's gonna get. I think it could get better, but like this defense plays so well. And Dan Quinn, he gave us his all, y'all. And that's the part that hurts me. Dan Quinn really gave his team his all. Whoever you bring in, and I get it, Joe Witt, he's not Dan Quinn. That's why Dan Quinn's about to be a head coach. These players may not respond to him like they do Dan Quinn. You're going to lose a valuable piece on that defense. I don't know who, but it's going to be. So it's tricky. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tricky. So to just say that we'll be back, not really. You know what I mean? And that's why it hurts. Like, that's why it hurts. And it just, like, it makes me wonder, like, Dak, if you can't understand what they're trying to do, and, like, I get it. Like, I get it. San Francisco's a really good defense. They are. But, like, I'll even give you, if people want to argue back and forth about the Michael Gallup comeback, which for the life of me, I don't know why Dak is throwing late in his progression to a comeback, even though people will say Michael Gallup didn't run the right ball. Cool, whatever. That he didn't run the right route. Cool. You got it. But why are you going late to a comeback? But then, cool, I'll give you that one. That's his one pick. Get it out of the way. There's no way you're getting off the hook from me for throwing an interception in the red area like that. Something's wrong, and we have to fix it. My last theory on this, and I'm going to turn the page on it, guys. Dak has now moved into a quarterback for me, and there's a lot There's really right now only 2 elite quarterbacks in the league for me. Everybody else has some type of hole or they need something. But there's 2 elite quarterbacks in the league right now at this moment. That's Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. And then there's everybody else. And I'm not going to sit here and argue about Josh Allen. I don't cover Josh Allen, so I don't really care. Like, I don't care about Josh Allen. That's not who I like. Cool. I know Josh Allen has 700 yards rushing this year. The Bills asked him to do a lot. Cool, whatever. But like, man. So Dak is now, to me, in that tier of he needs things to be perfect or as close to perfect as they can get. And so that's what I'm going to try to do with introducing you guys to some of these picks that I like. You can't just have pedestrian wide receiver 2 play with Dak. He's just not. He's not going to elevate guys. He's not going to Tony Romo, Laurent Robinson the situation. Just not going to do it. And so that's that on that. It's one of those situations where we have to be real. I think you can win with Dak, but it has to be perfect. And that's not a knock on Dak. I think that's like Jalen Hurts is in a perfect situation right now. Philly was aggressive in the offseason. Dallas is not going to do that. So Philly has a perfect situation, perfect defense, perfect offensive line, 2 great weapons. Jalen Hurts drive the car. I don't think that Jalen Hurts is, some outstanding thrower of the ball, but he's not going to mess it up either. His numbers say that. Brock Purdy, to be honest with you, was awful. This Purdy stuff has to stop. But this is how you know that people don't even watch film. Well, against Dallas, and maybe that's just more of my frustration. I'll go back down that road and end up getting hurt again. But Brock Purdy was he was seeing ghosts. He's not that defense literally took the game from Dallas. The defense. And they took it from Dak Prescott. But that's neither here nor there. Brock Purdy is who is he? He's not even a bus driver. He should be in the back of the bus. He did nothing. They couldn't attack down the field. And even the throw to Kittle, that's just an amazing play by Kittle. They need a shot in the arm. That was amazing play by Kittle. Brock Purdy made no throws. So let's stop with the, Purdy is some great quarterback. Let's stop with the, Hurts is some great quarterback. But Dak, in year 7, and the problem is, in year 7, he needs it to be perfect. That's just where we are with him. Unfortunately, that's what it is. And I'm not gonna move from that. He got his just due, and he got his praise for the Tampa Bay game, but it's now erased by just a horrible game versus San Francisco. And so that's what it is. What I'm never gonna do is call it one way and then call it the other. No. You did. You beat a subpar Tampa Bay team. But when it was time to beat a team that, again, I'm going to look into the mic. I'm not going to look into the camera. Into the mic. You did not have to beat Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. You didn't. You didn't have to. You just don't make a mistake. And you did. So, moving on to the draft, guys. You guys know how much I love this time of the year. Things have to be perfect for Dak. That's what it's going to be. And so that's going to be Foots' mindset. Last year I said his team wasn't physical. This Dallas defense was physical now. This Dallas defense grew up in front of our eyes. That's why J-Ron Curse is crying after the game. Respect to you, Curse. I don't know if anybody knows Curse who's in this video. Hey, Curse, you are me. I can't not do things. I can't not show emotion. I don't care what nobody else do. It's not about the money for me. I'm not on YouTube for money. I love this. You know what I'm saying? Curse really do what he do because he love this. I coach because I love this. Kurtz really do this because he would do this for free. And so that's why he's mad after the game. That's why he's crying after the game. But I respect that. You need those type of players on your team. You need those type of players on your team. This defense grew up in front of your eyes. We couldn't stop the run all year. We stopped against the one of the best running attack in OCs ever. Like, dog, Dan Quinn outcoached Kyle Shanahan. I'm telling you, there are people in front offices right now like, wow, Dan did it. Dan put together a plan to have Kyle was done. Anyway, so things had to be perfect. This defense grew up in front of your eyes. And to me, with this defense growing up in front of your eyes, things had to be perfect. There are two early needs in the first round where we're drafting at historically. Well, not even historically, but even last year, you see Jahan Dotson was able to come in for Washington and be a great piece, had a great year. You see guys like Chris Olave, who was drafted later. Well, no, Chris went kind of early. I'm sorry. But, Justin Jefferson went late in the draft. I'm thinking, looking at how this draft is going to fall, and this is what I knew early on in the situation and in the process. I don't know how much quarterbacks will get pushed, because right now it's tricky for me at the quarterback position. Like, Bryce Young is 100% my QB1, and I'm not going to move off that. But it's going to get interesting as scouts and as the process happens with guys like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, who I just think I wouldn't even dare play Richardson. I wouldn't play Richardson year one. But somebody's going to look at his frame. They're going to look at the athlete that he is. And I mean, he is an exceptional athlete. Anthony Richardson is, you want to talk about Cam Newton-esque? Like, special. Obviously, Hendon Hooker had the injury, but he put together some nice film as well. I would completely stay away from Will Levis. He just gives me bad vibes. And even there are guys like Max Duggan, later on in the draft, Dorian Thompson Robinson, guys that, could come in, be backups. Obviously, Stetson Bennett, who's 45 years old. But there are guys who can come in, be backups, and help you. The running back position for me, we got to see. We got to see. If I'm Dallas, I would have signed Tony Pollard yesterday. But knowing Steven, he's gonna, do right by Tony. He gave you his all. He's been a great team player. He loves to be here. I think that you still need another back that can carry the load. And if Zeke wants to take a pay cut, I don't even know. Like, I just don't know. Me personally, I don't know if I think that. I don't know if I want to bring Zeke back, but all my cap experts out there, let me know what's going on as far as how much cap you would have to eat with Zeke. But there are some nice backs in this draft. There are. And I mean, I'm not just talking about Bijan Robinson. He's somebody who I've had my eyes on for a while. But I mean, Devin A-Chain. I mean, there's some guys. Zach Evans, he's been somebody who I love and who's just, there are some backs in this draft that you may not have to jump off a bridge for early on. Like, you may not, like, I know everybody wants Bijan Robinson, but I just don't know. Like, because if I have Tony Pollard, I don't need that type of back. That's just me personally. So, now the position for me, yeah, A-Chain is a problem. Like, he's cold, but stylistically, you got to think about the push pull with Tony, and that's why I said, like, I mean, look what the Texans were able to do with the Florida kid this year. Like, you don't have to if you know what type of back you're looking for, you don't have to jump off the out the like you don't. And I do think that running backs are kind of coming back in vogue now, but I still don't think that you have to jump out of the roof for a back. Um, I think the backs, especially the do it all backs, they're coming back in vogue. All right, but I don't think that you have to jump out the roof just yet. And not for a running back, even though you may lose, you know, you may lose Zeke or it may not be the same, but I mean that's just the way it goes, right? Um, I think that it's kind of sad because now where's the wait a minute, hold on. Uh, let me see something. Who's the Texas running back that gave you fits? Uh, who was the Texans running back that got drafted from Florida, guys? Who was it? What's his name? Let me see. He got drafted in the third round. He was at the Senior Bowl. This is really bothering me. Yeah, Damian Pierce. Why isn't he on their roster? I'm looking him up. That's weird. Yeah, Damian Pierce was a beast, and that's what I'm saying. Third round. Um, but so anyway, with Pierce, right? He had an outstanding rookie year. Um, so to me, guys, running back, like no. But the position that really I would say Dallas has to attack and do their homework and find a guy who can play Robin as receiver. Again, when it comes to the draft, I'm not gonna say my hit rate has been pretty decent over the years. I remember the first video I made was Dak Prescott would be a steal, and he was. And now 6 years later, I still, I want nothing more than for Dak to play good football, nothing more, and I think that he can. But I've really been locked in with the drafting. So receiver to me is where I think you have to say for my team where I'm drafting at 26, I need to get a guy who can consistently be the number 2 corner. Not number 1, number 2. I don't need him to be CeeDee Lamb. I don't even want him to think to be CeeDee Lamb. I need him to beat a number 2 corner. And so let's talk about what Brandon J is talking about. And this is where I do disagree with you, Brandon. What we've seen is that teams have actually been willing to wait on receivers. And I don't agree with this isn't a good receiver class. I agree with it's a better D line and DB class. But I'm not going to say I'm not going to say that right here and right now that this is a bad receiver class. And then I see comments in the chat, and this is why I love talking draft, that like, hey, you're wasting a first round pick on a 2 receiver. Well, when was T. Higgins drafted? Can anybody help me out? When was T. Higgins drafted? Can anybody let's attack this now? Because I can't wait for, I couldn't wait for these arguments because I don't, come on, Danny, let's talk about it. We got all off season, and this is what I do. So T. Higgins was drafted 33. So one pick in the first, pick one in the second round. Basically, in that second to first round, because there's gonna be only true first round grades that'll probably be only 22, maybe. I know a lot of scouts, and these are scouts now because I've been plugged in the draft community for a while. So last year there weren't a lot of first round grades. You know, a lot of people didn't have Tyler Smith as a first round grade. I did, but a lot of people didn't. Remember, this is the same Foots who, after Tyler Smith was drafted, came on and begged you guys to be patient. Let me go get some water real quick, y'all. Remember that? Can anybody give me a thumbs up if they remember that? Let's talk about it. I begged you all, just stay patient with Tyler Smith. He's going to be something. And he saved your season because Tyron Smith went down. Remember that happened, right? So anyway, let's talk about what Danny Savage is talking about. You're gonna get Terrence Steele back. You're gonna get Terrence Steele back, and and I've heard that the Brandon Cooks. I just don't want to bring in Brandon Cooks. I'm cool. I'm good. Because also, this is also now, hey, you may have to start building this thing for the future too. And if you want to bring in somebody else at every position, because like I said, for me, Dak has to have things perfect. But if you end up bringing in a new staff, you're probably going to end up getting a new quarterback as well. That's not saying that, but this is me also trying to make another run at things. And I think that if you get a true number two, and this list has some number twos on it now, who can come in and really help you. Because again, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, who, by the way, down 3 offensive linemen in the snow, just went out and embarrassed the Bills. And I told you guys that I was watching their film. I just want to say, what are they doing? And I watch it on the screen. I see some of it, but then they just press a lot of easy buttons. And they're now moving Jamar Chase in the slot, doing some of the stuff that Dallas did with CeeDee Lamb. But they also have T. Higgins on the edge. So if you want to play this game where you're going to hover over Chase and roll coverage to Chase, well, then T. Higgins is going to beat your number 2 receiver every play. I mean, your number 2 corner every play. And again on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. So, and by the way, Tyler Boyd could probably be a number 1 on some people's teams. So, and they built a basketball team. No shrimps. So, you look at what the Bengals have built. The Bengals built a basketball team out there with just, a nice piece at tight end. And you have your answers at tight end. They built a basketball team. Now, remember, things have to be perfect for Dak. There's no more. I'm not going to move off that stance. And we're talking about playoff football. We're not talking about beating the Texans. We're not talking about beating whoever. We're talking about playoff football. Things have to be perfect for Dak Prescott, and that's okay. That's just who he is. We've seen 8 years of him. 2016 was emotion. Now we have actual facts that things have to be perfect for Dak, and that's okay. Let's make things perfect. Let's get him another stud receiver. Let's build a basketball team. CeeDee Lamb in the slot has been great, but I still think that depending on who's calling plays, you still want to have CeeDee Lamb on the edge because you want to have him be able to do both. Because what also happened was, and again, I think that they figured it out too late, was the one thing that they figured out too late was, hey, Lenore, you can run past him all game. And so even on a 9 ball to CeeDee Lamb, Dak underthrows him. But anyway, looking at true X's in this draft, I think Quentin Johnson will be gone. I think Jordan Addison will be gone. But that's okay because I think that I'm going to be honest with you. As far as day one ready to go, I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba, if the injury situation checks out, I think he's better than both day one. I have a few reasons why. People are going to come in this chat and say he's not fast enough. Don't care. Ohio State receivers have panned out in the league. Part of the reason why Brian Hartline got that offensive coordinator job at Ohio State that they just gave to him was because he was going to get another job somewhere else. And Ryan Day knew that. And Brian Hartline has been an absolute stud of a coach. Absolute stud. Absolute stud. And Danny, he didn't miss 12 games because of a hamstring. He missed 12 games because he was going to the NFL draft, and his brother came out and said it. And Todd McShay tried to throw dirt on his name, and that was that on that. And I'm not mad at these players. Yeah, if you don't want to play college football, cool. But, like, let's be honest. I watched this man have a 300-yard game in the Rose Bowl. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a stud to me. The perfect two for me. He is. Route runner, check. Football IQ, check. So, and I'm not just talking to one guy in the chat, but this is what I don't like. Danny, you got to remember, just look at the protege look at how many guys Brian Hartline has put in the NFL that are coming in day one and starting and are studs. Think about that. McLaurin, Olave, like the list goes. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a stud. Like the list goes on and on and on. Michael Thomas, stud. The list goes on and on and on with those Ohio State receivers. So anyway, that's one of my guys who that I'm really, when we talk about needs and making things perfect for Dak receiver, I like Josh Downs and I like Jalen Hyatt. Now, Jalen Hyatt to me is extremely interesting because of the speed. If you're telling me that you want to draft a guy who can just run past defenses, you're talking about Jalen Hyatt. If you love Waddle's game, then you love Jalen Hyatt. Just a speed demon. And in that Tennessee scheme, they really helped him because they just let him do that. Go run post, go run 9, and run past everybody. And Hendon Hooker, heave ho. And that's what they were able to do. And I think they did a great job with that. And I think that he's somebody who could, if nothing else, play off CeeDee Lamb. Because you're just looking for a Robin, guys. You're looking for a Robin. Rashid Rice, and Zay Flowers and Hyatt's running mate, Cedric Tillman, are very interesting as well. Zay Flowers is a little small. But just, Matt hit it on the head. I like what you're talking about, Matt. Matt knows football here. He is just an extremely crazy route runner, but he's small and he's like tiny, like $170. He's just little. And so that scares me. His size definitely does scare me. And who he's done it against scares me. Like when I see Hyatt do it against Alabama in the game that he had against Alabama, I'm like, okay, he's done it against NFL level talent. I have not seen. I just think that Zay Flowers is he's just small. Like, and that's not a knock, Matt, because small guys can play, but like Hyatt can play on the edge. He's quick enough to play on the edge some, but he's just gonna run past your defense. He is, and um, you need those type of guys. So that's where I'm at with it with receivers. I like Cedric Tillman as well. He's more of a big body guy though, and I just don't know if that's what you need. You need a guy that's gonna separate. Plain and simple. Remember, things have to be perfect for Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm really being serious. Keyshawn Butte is somebody who's I like at LSU as well. And we have all off season to talk about this. But just early on, that's where I'm at. As far as needs. I would go and listen for everybody who's saying and Jigba can't separate or whatever you just stop. Leave this stream because I'm gonna give it to you because to me and Jigba, the game that he had in the Rose Bowl is good enough to get you drafted alone. Took over the game. I don't care who if Marvin Harrison Jr. was on the other side. It's a reason why Stroud kept going his way. He's a stud. He's a basketball player. He's a stud route runner. Just cut it out. Seriously. And Jigba can go. Period. Anytime I stamp a player, it normally ends up turning out the way that I say. He's one of those. Trust me on that. And then to me, as much as I love O-line, I don't know if I'm going back to the well on O-line in the first round. However, third, second, cool. But to me, there are really two positions that I'm targeting in the first and second rounds. Receiver and linebacker. Because you're going to lose Leighton Vander Esch. And as much as I love you're going to lose Leighton Vander Esch. And I think that Dallas is going to transition to making Mike a full-time DN. Bulking him up and making him a full-time DN. I'm listening to Trent Williams speak. Like they said, he really hasn't gotten into his Micah hasn't even gotten into his NFL body yet. So I think that they are going to transition to making him a full-time DN, and I think that would be smart for this team. And I think that, like, I think that they're going to make him a full-time DN. And so for me, when you start talking about linebackers on this team, let's talk about it. Leighton Vander Esch, who played again admirably, is probably going to be gone. I just don't see how you can pay him. And I don't. And I see the comments where it's like, hey, let's put Wilson as a linebacker, but Wilson's a safety and he's been good at it. And I don't know if Wilson comes back. I think he may test the market. And I think somebody made a good point. I think he may follow Dan Quinn. Because he's had his best year. I think if the whole defense could follow Dan Quinn, I think they would. He's just that type of. He just has that type of impact. I think if the whole defense could follow Dan Quinn, I think that they would. I think they would follow him, and they would be justified in doing so. So to me, linebacker it's now become a need, and I love Damone Clark, and I want to be honest with y'all. I absolutely love Damone Clark, right? But I want people to slow down on thinking he had a really good season. It was okay, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like his season was out of sight. Like it was okay. Jack Campbell to me is somebody who I got to get some more film on him. The lateral movement scares me, and the ability and lack thereof in pass coverage scares me. But you look at a guy like Josie Jewell, who's I felt the same way about him coming out of Iowa, and he's put together a nice resume in Denver, and he's played good football. And then Noah Sewell is really interesting as well because Noah Sewell is somebody who I've been following since youth football to now Oregon to his high school. He's somebody who he's benched like 600 pounds. I mean, he's crazy. And then obviously he has NFL bloodlines with his brother Panay, who's had carved out a nice career in Detroit. But Sewell is another one who kind of scares me at off ball in the pass game. I think that he diagnoses well, and I think that he can. I think that he can run and knock you silly. Sewell can, but you got to be careful when you get him in space because he's a liability. The interesting one is Deion Henley from Washington. From Washington State. I think that he's interesting. I think that Drew Sanders from Arkansas is interesting. Sanders has a very interesting build. It's almost like Zaven Collins in the sense that, um, you know, long athlete, right? I think that he kind of looks like a safety out there, if we're being honest. Like he looks like a safety, but we also got to be real. That's kind of like the way that defense is played and linebacker is played now. Like you kind of have to have that type of build, that type of body. Um, and I think that he's one of these guys that if you get him in the right scheme with the right coaches, I do believe that he can, because his recognition in the pass game is really nice. I think that he could be somebody that could really, on this defense, what you're trying to build with long athletes. Now you got to find out who's going to be your defensive coordinator because again, Dan Quinn's gone, but if he's hanging around at 26, and we've seen linebackers that we had graded high fall. Devin Lloyd, who had a nice, he had a nice, he had a, excuse me, not a nice career. He had a really nice season this year for the Jags. We saw him fall. We had him as a lock top 10 player early on. He fell, but he carved out a nice season. So it's all about situational where these guys go. And, it was good to see guys like Chad Muma playing and all this, that, and the third. So I just think that it'll be cool to see. Like he's a true off-ball linebacker who diagnoses well, who runs to the ball well. Um, and I'm talking about Drew Sanders. All right. So linebacker and receiver for me. Defensive tackle, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, I'll be honest with y'all. Yep. Matt is talking. Matt knows he knows draft. I completely agree. Off ball linebackers, they're like running backs. I mean, and if we're being honest, Fred Warner went the third round. So you can get, but this team, it's a need for this team. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Cornerback is not a glaring need for this team. I told you, we got to make things perfect. The defense was as close to perfect as you're gonna get. I know we want a big hefty D tackle. I'm telling y'all right now, Dallas is not going to draft a D tackle in the first round. So get it out your mind. They're not going to do it. Dallas is not, I'm going to say it again. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to draft a D tackle in the first round. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So they're not. So just get it out your mind. Linebacker, we got to start looking at the positions that this front office and Will McClay, and We got to give Will the benefit of the doubt that if nobody else on the staff has done their job, Will McClay has. Wide receiver, linebacker, DB, D end. Yeah. But to think that those like DN and DB didn't hurt you this game. It didn't. DN and DB did not hurt you this game. So, you know, to me, it's linebacker, receiver for me. Running back, I just don't see Dallas doing that again, especially with the bad contract when it comes to Zeke. So you're not going to do that again. Receiver, linebacker. That's just where I'm at, guys. I mean, things could change, and I could be wrong, but receiver, linebacker. So those are early looks at the needs, and I gave you guys some names. And guys, we got all off season. I'll do my first mock round. Oh, I said mock round. I'll do my first mock draft next week. So you guys be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna probably do a 3-round Cowboys mock. But we'll see. But again, putting a cap on the game in a year, but right now my narrative is last year my narrative was you weren't healthy and you weren't physical enough, and I truthfully believe that. I do not believe that the Cowboys were physical enough last year. This year the Cowboys were physical enough. One position cost you, unfortunately, against an upper echelon team, and it was the quarterback position. Got to call a spade a spade. Everything else evened out. I mean, even let's be real, Tyler Smith did a great job on Nick Bosa. He got a holding call. He also had some. If you look at the film, he graded out really good in the run game. So, and he had some nice plays where him and Tyron Smith did well on Bosa. So, and you drafted Tyler Smith for this game to be physical and all that type of stuff. So, the biggest thing was things have to be perfect for the quarterback, and that's okay. But that's what it is. And if you bring in another OC, cool, you're gonna have to evaluate the quarterback as well. And I think that's what's gonna happen, and that's just the tough conversations that I'm gonna have because I'm gonna be responsible. Nobody is absolved from criticism on this channel for me. So again, if you want to sell me on DB, we can talk, Matt and others. I like what Matt is talking about. If you want to sell me on DB, I don't think that Dallas is going to draft 2 offensive linemen back to back. I'm sorry, I just don't. Not in the first round. They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. So the positions for me they're not going to. They are absolutely not going to go tight end. You have 2 stud tight ends. Dalton Schultz, somebody who I love. He can walk. See ya. Thank you for the super sticker, homie. Schultz can walk. But you got to hope that, your defense stays intact, knowing that, Quinn is going to leave, but Quinn is gone. He's going to be a head coach, and he deserves it. He gave his all as a coach, and he put on a masterpiece of a performance coaching. So Bland is your DB on the edge for me, but if you want to get depth, I'm not mad at that. Like, that's fine. If you want to get depth, I'm not mad at that. But linebacker and receiver are the 2 positions that I'm really going to hone in on this offseason. I like Jordan Addison and I like Quentin, but I think that they'll both be gone. So off-ball linebackers fall depending on scheme and all that type of stuff and how you value them. Tackles go, quarterbacks go, corners go, but I don't think this team has a true need at DB. And I'm not touching a running back early. I would love to have Bijan Robinson, but just looking at this team, I think Tony Pollard will suffice. But you have to. Yeah, you just drafted, and that's a good point, King Marquise. You just drafted DeRon Bland in the 5th round. And then you just drafted Diggs in the second round, and you're now about to have to pay Diggs. So, you know, I think you go back to the well for linebacker and you make Micah Parsons a DN and you pay him like a DN and you let him get better as a DN. You can't keep playing this game. You're gonna put him off ball. You're gonna let him rush from both sides like he does and let him be a DN. And even if you want to play some 3-4 principles, you can do that. But get a true off ball linebacker, not Anthony Barr, who had a nice season, but it's time to move on. So get him or get a receiver that is going to help CeeDee Lamb, who's now emerged as your true number one and a true superstar. So it's your boy Foots as always. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's the off season, guys. We're going to get better. I mean, excuse me. When we get better, I think we're gonna heal. You've been a Cowboys fan this long, you'll be one. I always say that it sucks, but gotta wait another year to even get a shot. So it's your boy Foots as always. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. Thank you guys for staying with me. I just want to say that. Thank you guys for staying with me. I really, really appreciate you guys, man. I do. Like, do the good, the bad. I just appreciate y'all. I can't say that enough. Like, I don't want to. I'm not one of these guys that's too high and mighty. I'm gonna talk my talk, but I appreciate y'all as well. Let me answer Matt's question because Matt has been spot on. Thank you, Matt. We might got to make you an admin over here, champ. Does adding the weight it need excuse me, does adding the weight needed to play DN scare you with the possibility of declining his speed? No. With Micah, it doesn't. Because Micah is special. So I think he's just that competitive. So I don't think it does. All right, y'all. New music coming soon. Much love, guys. When I do these live streams, man, make sure y'all send them out. Really appreciate y'all. Peace.